Classic keyboard warrior, not coming on. Listen, that's on me. That's on me. I wasn't even legally able to play.
Like, he would run over a bunch of 6-year-old kids if he had to.
Mr. Limited. If you say it's going to be a big year, you're automatically increasing your chances of it being a big year.
Mr. Limited.
Who's even going to understand all this?
This entire interview, a lot of time, like most of what I've discussed is things I've gotten wrong.
So let bygones be bygones. And if you're going to punch someone, punch my producer. This has been a big bomb banger of an episode.
Bang! Bang!
Welcome to Circles Off, episode number 141, live here on the Hammer Betting Network, powered by Pinnacle Sportsbook. I'm Rob Pizzola, joined by Johnny from Betstamp.
Very nice intro, Zach. Did you make that up?
Yes, I did.
Put it together. There you go, man. Production quality through the roof for the live shows.
And we are live on air. This is our second live show we've ever done on this channel. I know you're a veteran of the live shows.
Yeah, I've done live many times in the past before, but thought it would make sense rather than this coming out on Thursday this week. Let's get our fresh Super Bowl reactions so that it's not dated by the time we release it or something like that.
Episode 141. We're still going to stick to it. This is still Circles Off. Number 41. Great NFL running back. Still active, still playing. Alvin Kamara.
Kamara is one. The only other 41 I know in the NFL is Josh Allen, but not
the other Josh Allen.
Not Josh Allen. The other Josh Allen, which who does, what's his name? Scott Hansen, that does Red Zone. He got so excited that one time that Josh Allen sacked Josh Allen. He must have said it like a dozen times on the show. And Josh Allen sacks the other Josh Allen. Yeah.
You got Dirk Nowitzki.
Disco Dirk. And a bunch of people were messaging me yesterday because we tweeted that we're going to have a live episode with some 41. So I know John Lackey wore a 41. I used to bet baseball quite a bit back in the day. And Lackey was like a go-to guy. He won me a lot of money.
Good pitcher.
John Lackey. New Toronto Raptor and Canadian, Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly O.
Yeah.
Kelly O.
Jacob
Canada
in the chat
basketball.
said Kelly Olynyk.
How's the Super Bowl for you?
Good. Lot of takeaways from this game. I can't wait to get into them. Rob and I were messaging back and forth during the game, just all notes for the show for today. Yep. And I was just reading back through those chats. Some couple of bangers. I don't even know. So many suboptimal coaching moves.
It was honestly like a pretty shitty game at first.
Until the end, yeah.
But and then it turned into the second half was really good. I would say that Usher turned the game around. That's my opinion on that.
I'm not in for a Super Bowl halftime recap show. I didn't even watch the halftime show.
No, you're getting down for second half?
No, I was just I had it on, but I wasn't watching it. It's a couple that guy does have some bangers. I'll give it to him. It's more my childhood. He has a couple of absolute bangers. Usher does. At least 4 or 5.
I'm terrible with pop culture. Horrible. I was great when I was young because I don't know, I grew up with alternative rock and some rap and hip hop and stuff. But as I got older, my taste in music is it's very in the extreme minority. Let's put it that way. So I know nothing, but then as the songs were being played, I'm like, oh, I know this song. I've heard this before. I didn't realize how many bangers Usher had. I'm not the pop culture guy, but I will say I can be very impartial when it comes to the halftime shows. I thought that was really entertaining. I don't know what it was about it. I just thought it was a good halftime show. As someone
I thought it was good too.
As someone who doesn't enjoy that type of music, I was still hooked on the show.
I don't really understand why the Super Bowl though always is guys playing that are older.
Yeah.
It's never the current best artists. It's people who are popular
Well, they had Weeknd a few years ago, which is I don't know where Weeknd stands on the scale of popular artists nowadays, but more relevant now, right?
Yeah, more relevant than Usher now, I guess.
Yes.
But Usher's still good, by the way. He's great.
It's because you kind of got to
great music.
Reach that pinnacle.
Well, Travis Scott was not long ago, right? Rihanna as well last year. Rihanna, you can't say is out of the game. Rihanna's still.
When's the last time Rihanna
off.
put out a banger?
I feel
10 years ago.
No, definitely not.
10 years
I don't
ago.
know.
Definitely not.
Last time Rihanna and Usher put out bangers, our show sponsor was just firing up operations. 25 years.
25 years in business for Pinnacle, the world's sharpest sportsbook, available to bettors across Canada. We often preach line shopping on this show. if you're in Canada and you bet the Chiefs yesterday and you didn't bet it at Pinnacle, I don't know what to tell you because you left a bunch of money on the table. Chiefs money line closed plus 121 at Pinnacle yesterday. By far the best number on the planet anywhere. So do yourself a favor. If you're line shopping at any point, or if you're just betting at any point, make sure you're getting the best of the number. You're going to do that with Pinnacle many, many times. So use code HAMMER if you do sign up in Canada. You must be 18 plus, not available in the US. And as always, please play responsibly. I saw some people that were not playing responsibly yesterday. A lot of "this is going to be the biggest bet of my life" tweets on Twitter before the game went out that didn't answer. The San Francisco 49ers were so sharp that they became square. I don't know if you know what I mean by this, but every once in a while, you have a game where like all the books are reporting only sharp money on one side, and I'm just going to speak my mind, every goof that has no idea what they're doing in sports betting, they're just like, I got to be on this side. Like, I got to be on the sharp side. And the mushes joined in. The rest is history. And
I feel like this one was like the first Super Bowl I was actually straight even amongst I guess we'll call it people who don't bet. People who don't bet, it was dead even. People are like, oh, no, give me Mahomes, give me the Chiefs. A lot of guys were on the Chiefs, a lot of guys were on the Niners.
But it should, like, my point, which I've been making for like, how long now? A decade probably, is that it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter who's on which side. Like, one of the biggest bettors we know, mutual friend of ours, played San Fran heavy at -1 for a large amount because Pinnacle was taking like over $100K a pop at that. -1. And he told me straight up, he's like, I wouldn't play this. Like, that was our cutoff price. That's what we bet it at. But so many people just get invested in like, oh, the public is on this. You know, I said it when I was doing the pizza buffet yesterday morning, but like, it's not apples to apples. Like, the sports book is going to book the bet at plus 110, and then you're going to go make the bet at minus 110. And people get so confused. They don't even know what they're talking about anymore. It's like, I want to be on the side of the sharps. I want to be on the side of the sports book. In a lot of cases, those are like different things. Like, think about Pinnacle and Circa as an example. Like, these books were trying to get KC bets and they couldn't. The book is heavily cheering for Kansas City. You want to be on the same side as the book. Well, those are books that needed Kansas City big. Anyways, I just get so frustrated with that because there's so many people who just like ignored what they actually thought was going to happen in the game. Like, people who thought Kansas City was going to win the game, and they just ignored and dismissed that opinion because they thought too many people were picking Kansas City in the game.
The Lions would have won that Super Bowl. Should have won the Bowl.
The Lions.
Lions could have actually won the Bowl this year. They should have beat San Fran, no doubt.
Yeah, San Fran could have lost to Green Bay, too, in that game.
Green Bay almost won the Super Bowl.
Green Bay was this close from being in overtime in the Super Bowl against Kansas City. This close.
Not even. Yeah, no, San Fran should have won this game. I don't know how KC keeps doing it, but at the end of the day,
I can tell you how.
There's a win factor. There's like, yeah, it's Mahomes, and it's the same thing with Brady.
Yeah, well, I know. There's people that know how to win when it counts.
No, Mahomes doesn't lose in the Super Bowl.
Well,
except to Brady, who doesn't lose in the Super Bowl.
Except to Manning. 2 episodes ago of Circles Off, we recorded, and you kind of caught me off guard where you're like, you know, we didn't know the Super Bowl matchup yet, but we had to pretend like we did know the Super Bowl matchup. So you're like, who's going to win the Super Bowl? This is before the conference championship games. I just went with San Fran purely because they're the favorite.
This guy called it.
This guy called KC
from before the Final Four.
Dogs before the Final Four.
Back to back.
But you know what? It's in hindsight, Mahomes, man.
So let's go through the game here. We'll start it off with the coin toss because this is something we really got. Actually, we'll start off with the anthem. Rob's got to go for the anthem here.
Okay. Yeah. So Rob is an idiot. Is what happened here. I've been very like outspoken about this before. I don't want to give like too many details on this, but we had the episode where Ferris was on a long time ago, where he's like, Rob, for years I hated you because like I knew that you somehow would able to get the anthem time and I didn't get it and whatever. Now, I lost money on the anthem
for the
first year with what I believe is good information, and this is entirely my fault. Okay. So long story short, 2019 was the Super Bowl. I believe it was Rams Patriots. And the anthem singer was Gladys Knight. And
I don't know who any of these people are, by the way. I don't know if you guys they always make a
I've
big
seen
deal
Reba
about the anthem.
McEntire before, but I
didn't
couldn't
know.
name.
I
Like
have no idea who any of these anthem singers are ever.
Yeah, I know who
Chris
Reba
Stapleton.
McEntire is.
Bang.
Okay, Chris Stapleton, but honestly, yeah, like a lot of people didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
2019 Gladys Knight. She finishes the anthem with 2 braves. She says brave twice at the end. At that time, there were sportsbook terms. Pretty much every sportsbook that was taking an anthem bet had a stipulation that it was to the end of the first brave. And I'm an idiot, and I just assumed. Don't assume. I preach this. I don't practice what I preach.
Guy didn't read his sportsbook.
I did not
rules.
read my sportsbook rules. But each sportsbook had an independent set of rules for this anthem. So some sportsbooks would have paid out on the under as a winner because they did still list one brave. One offshore sportsbook I could think of, BetMGM, another one. Other sportsbooks were very explicit in the fact that, like Pinnacle, that it's from the first note sung to the end of the last note sung. So you had 2 different anthem times. You had 128, which was to the end of the first brave, and you had like 141, which was the entirety of the entire thing. I spread around my bets all over the place, lost more than I won. I do believe the information was good that I got, but I'm the idiot who could have asked for a little bit more clarity on the situation. You live and you learn. I believe in learning through experience, but it sucks, man, because I'm used to winning the anthem time and starting. It's great to start the Super Bowl in the green.
Oh, no doubt.
When you start in the red, you already feel like, and I was trashed by the time the Super Bowl started yesterday. So I was already like a little bit, not even a little bit, like I was drunk. I started drinking in the early afternoon yesterday, and then you lose the anthem on top of it. You're not in a good spot to start the game. Not in a good spot.
So, anthem, it is what it is, Rob. Tough one. We'll get him next year.
Yeah, it's not even like, we'll move on. I promise we'll move on. It's not even just about losing the money, but it's like you just feel like, I don't know. It's other people that
You're
get
a
the
tout.
same.
That's what it is.
Exactly. That's
Tout it
exactly it. Tout it out and you lose.
So we'll get to the coin toss here because I got a lot of opinions on the coin toss. All right, number 1. Oh, tails never fails, heads, whatever. Guys, it's a coin toss. You get plus 101, you're up. You get minus 101 or worse, you're down. All right. Second off, people betting the coin toss, and everyone's over here like, oh, look at these guys betting the coin toss. Look at these idiots betting the coin toss. Buddy, betting the coin toss at minus 101 aside is literally a better bet than basically 90% of everyone's bets. Like, it actually is. Betting the coin toss at minus 101, you're getting a slight loser in value. There's people out here betting Travis Kelce wins MVP and proposes at like plus 2,000. There's people betting that. That's like minus $1 million percentage.
The hold is absurd. On
And these guys,
markets.
and you're actually fine betting the coin toss. Obviously, we've mentioned this multiple times. You should shop around because there's no way you shouldn't be getting minus 101 on the toss. Everyone's offering it now. Another way to bet it, by the way, just for more fun, it was actually ESPN bet / score bet was offering just even money on both sides, team to win the coin toss. You get San Fran or you get KC. True 50-50, team to win the coin toss, even money.
Yeah.
I applaud them for offering that. They're like, hey, you want a fun bet? Here you go.
Yeah,
Even
I mean, it's speaking as my experience as a consultant for sportsbooks before. Zach's slow on the trigger today.
No, I got it. I heard it.
Okay.
We got to erase it.
It's a great marketing tactic to get people in the door. Like, if you can offer that you're not taking a cut on the Super Bowl plus 100 both on the Super Bowl coin toss, it's a way to get people in the door. It's a smart move. People get in, they deposit, they play other stuff. But yeah, I'm totally with you. The amount of bets that people make, I mean, I'm with guys yesterday that look like GRP with the notepads that they got, tracking all their bets and whatever. And I'm looking at some of these and I'm like, yeah, you're probably better off just betting the coin toss. Even at minus 105.
Yeah, even minus 10. Honestly, even at minus 10. Like, when you're getting some of these alternative bets, even people picking the Gatorade color and stuff, like the hold on those, if you're just picking that randomly, you're actually getting way, way, way worse odds, EV than if you're just betting the coin toss at -10.
Yep, totally.
Anyways, we'll get into some other stuff that happened in the game. Very, very cool stuff. Number one, Romo. Was this his first Super Bowl? What did he do last year?
So I'm not a big fan of watching games. So I had volume for the game, but I was with a large crowd and the volume wasn't loud enough. So I didn't get the greatest sense of the commentary for the game, other than what I was seeing through the lens of Twitter. Twitter mostly hates Romo now.
I don't mind him. He called a good game.
Was there any, I don't know, gyms that came out of?
I think
there was one crazy one that came in the late third quarter or something. Jim said something about like a kick, and then Romo came in over the top with I don't know, Jim.
Maybe when they attempted the 57-yarder or something like that.
The one thing I remember about Romo is there was 2 separate times in the game where he's just said that San Fran's got to keep running the ball, and he was so he'd basically be you just run the ball here now. What are you going to do? They know you're going to run. You got to run it again. And as he's saying that, Purdy's just in shotgun in an empty backfield. They're not going to run.
But you know what? It's interesting. The whole running of the football is interesting because against Baltimore, right? Baltimore basically abandoned the run very early. They passed a ton in that game. They turned Lamar Jackson into a pocket passer in the AFC Championship game, and people were like, you got to run the ball. Everyone knows KC's defense is that's the weakness. But now you go to the Super Bowl, KC's sending all these run blitzes, basically, and they're stacking the box. And at some point, you got to be able to throw the ball and beat them through the air. And it's really easy to say in hindsight, they shouldn't have let Purdy throw that much. They should have ran the ball a little bit more. But it's not easy to run the ball on those looks, generally speaking. So I don't know. I understand today, I've seen a lot of the discourse about, why did they abandon the run in the second half, the 49ers? Because KC made them. Either you're going to run into a stacked box for a couple yards at a time, or you take your chances with your receivers that are one-on-one, generally good receivers. But KC's corners won that battle, man.
Yeah, so they gave up on the run, but good commentary on the game.
Good.
I did appreciate that. I know you didn't watch with the volume. Good value. What else do we have here? I'm looking through. Oh, look at all these things, man. Okay, first off, see that Dre Greenlaw injury?
Okay,
that was nuts.
That reminded me of. I might get the kicker wrong, but I think it was Martin Gramatica back in the day.
It was, yeah.
Where he made the kick and then he did a celebratory leap and he just landed and tore his ACL. This one is right up there with the freak injuries that I've ever seen, just running off the sideline.
That was absolutely nuts. I can't believe he did that. And then not only you just feel bad for the guy, man. It doesn't even matter about the game. That's a big loss for San Fran, which it was. But
agreed. It's the biggest game of the guy's life, basically, and he's gonna deal with a freak accident like that where he's running off the field. So what are you gonna do?
All right. So we had that. We had. Oh, what about Taylor Swift?
Okay. Can I
Did you bet any Taylor Swifts? Props?
I don't think so. I'd have to go through, unless one of my partners bet them, which I highly doubt. I don't think we have anything Taylor Swift related for the game. But what is why do you think the average football fan gets so upset about when Taylor Swift showed on screen? What is it about it that I know nothing about. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. We did live watch-alongs this year. Zach was probably with me on some of them on Forward Progress where I don't really know many of her songs. I don't know what's going on there. But I don't know why people get so upset about the Taylor Swift stuff. I don't get it. I don't listen to her. I don't care if she's shown on screen. Why do people care so much that she's shown on screen, the average fan? I don't really understand it. So I didn't bet the props. But I'm at a party with people who are just getting really upset whenever she's on screen. And I'm why do you care so much? Who gives a shit whether they're showing her or they're showing someone, a player on the sideline? It affects my life in no way.
Yeah, I actually was able to make some money off the Taylor Swift props this year. Basically, at the end of the day, I get why people are upset because they don't want people who like don't watch football to be like liking football. It's like their thing. Football is like a big community-based sport. You love gambling, you love watching football, you love playing fantasy. So you don't want like other people who don't play to now be like, oh, what's this thing? Right. It is a little bit annoying, obviously. Taylor Swift though, all like the sharp guys that were giving out Taylor Swift under props, the rationale was god awful. So in previous years of Super Bowl, you always had a prop whenever Brady was in the bowl. How many times will Giselle get shown on screen?
Right.
It's usually over like 2.5. And the under would be a very sharp play because you'd have like recreational fans come in and be like, oh, I know Giselle, whatever. Let me bet the over. Like I'll see her on screen. But Giselle is, again, now, I don't want to be like a controversial. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, no, she's more famous than Tom. Okay, no, she's not. Not more famous than Tom Brady. But she's not even that famous. Like people don't necessarily know her.
She's worth more, but in terms
sure,
of fame wise, I can't. Like most people cannot.
I don't even think I'd pick Giselle off the street if I walked right by her.
I think I'm with you.
So in general, I'm saying like Giselle's not that famous. Like you're not gonna pick her up off the street if you walk right by her. And Tom Brady is just like happened to be married to her and was like, yeah, they're going to show this girl on screen. Sure, they might show her 1 or 2 times, but they're not showing her after every single play or after every single touchdown or every single catch. Taylor Swift, if you watch any Chiefs games, anytime Kelsey gets a catch, right up in the box. Yeah. Anytime a Chiefs get a touchdown, right up in the box, showing her. And it's also not just her. She's in the box with like other famous people. There's Mahomes' wife, stuff like that. They're just showing that as more of like a culture thing. I was very, very sure they were going to be showing Taylor Swift on screen, for sure over 5 times, which was the line there. Yeah. Ended up showing her. I think it was like depending on the broadcast rules, because they don't sometimes like some books didn't count half times or certain breaks, but it showed her like 12 plus times. Also, Travis Kelce happened to have like a big game, didn't even get a touchdown, got a couple catches. They showed Taylor Swift almost after every single Kelce catch. She's at a different level in like the pop culture fame where like they're just going to show her after the thing. And if you had watched Chiefs games, you would know that. So that was a pretty cool edge. You can't get a ton of money down on these, but was able to make some money there.
Yeah, but it's a smart handicap.
I was like, how is this number so low? Like you're telling me that they're not going to show Taylor Swift 6 times on screen in the Super Bowl. Like already it just doesn't make sense.
It's also like somewhat correlated to Kelsey catches.
But it wasn't even because they show her like they're going to show her once like right around the anthem time. They're going to show her once right after the first Kansas City touchdown. That's 2 already. And then you have a couple of Kelsey things. Halftime. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I just like obviously hindsight, whatever, and I don't look at a lot of these props. Generally speaking, you're much better at getting down on these than I am. But yeah, I just like I find the discourse around it hilarious in terms of why people are just generally upset. It's like obviously the NFL wants to grow the game. They're finding an audience now that is outside of their traditional audience.
T-Swift props. High value. By the way, for anyone watching this right now, I probably see we're in frantic panic. My headset is absolutely not working. Buzzing bad. Obviously bad for a live show. So we're just in scramble mode right now. But I'm gonna go headset off.
Yeah, we technically don't even need them anyways.
No, you're good.
We're good. All right. So the anthem we went through, the coin toss we went through, Greenlaw's injury, Debo almost injured. Rob, you texted me something that was pretty funny.
All right. I said I'm an idiot off the top for the national anthem. I'm also a hypocrite on top of an idiot. G-Stack George would always joke when we did the Forward Progress live watch-alongs that, like, if he bets on a game and an opposing player gets hurt, like, he's fist-pumping that injury. Like, if he bets San Fran Super Bowl and Mahomes goes down holding his knee, like, he's fucking fist-pumping that. He's going nuts. And I'm like, you're a scumbag. Like, to cheer for something like that, you would... My instinct, I was heavily exposed on Debo Samuel unders, both rushing and receiving yesterday. And my first instinct, he goes down, he's holding his hamstring. I swear to you, first thing I did was a quick fist bump. I caught myself real quick. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, that was my reaction, but that was my uninhibited reaction. I didn't mean it. I hope he's okay. But like, it's really hard when you bet on sports and like that, you're just rooting for that player not to do anything. So especially with the unders, right? You see him go down, and What are you going to do? So
You're
I
like,
did it.
that would be terrible if Debo was out for this game. That's what
I always joke that I hope they go to the locker room to get like an IV, get some fluids, get some hydration or whatever. That's the one you want, right? Or like when Lamar Jackson had to just run to the locker room to take a shit. That's perfect. You bet Lamar Jackson under player props. Guys got to go shit for 10 minutes. That's great. Love that. I don't want to see injuries generally speaking, but that was unfortunately my first reaction. There was lots of injuries like in the game.
And not that many flags, which was a key to obviously that. Listen, in OT, you had that holding call on Jawan Jennings.
Yeah.
I think that was the only flag that was like meaningful to like extend a drive or something like that. There was a couple holding calls on like first and second downs, but I hate it when a flag swings like the whole game. And that was, at least it only happened the once.
What was interesting about, so that was on a 2nd and 2.
Which?
The holding.
The Jawan Jennings one. I'm saying where in OT, where San Fran was 3rd and 13.
Trent McDuffie held them out of his break. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they didn't call, that basically turned a punt situation where Casey was like almost then going to win the game for sure on a field goal.
Yes.
Into San Fran extending the drive, gunning for a titter.
Yeah, that was one. I was thinking of a different play, which was a 2nd and 2 for San Fran, and they picked up a holding penalty to go to 2nd and 12. On
Elijah Mitchell's run. Yeah, no.
It looked like Christian McCaffrey was, I don't want to speculate, but his head hit the ground.
He was definitely calm.
He was definitely dazed and confused, which is like, Chernoff actually had a great Twitter thread today, just like recapping his summary, like his thoughts on the game. It was pretty lengthy if you want to read it, but one of his points was like, you have 3 timeouts in overtime. You see McCaffrey, like they took off McCaffrey and Kittle on that play, and they ran with backups. They end up getting a holding penalty, and it goes to 2nd and 12. Like, you can use a timeout in instances like that, and it's overtime. Like, those timeouts are basically going to go to waste. The clock is not really coming into play.
Yeah, they never comes into play.
Right? Like, you want to keep your best players on the field as much as humanly possible. So you see McCaffrey get banged up, might be within reason for you to just use a timeout there so that he can get back into the game rather than having to put your second stringers on.
Yeah, but I'm talking like win probability swinging calls. Like that, the one call on Jawan Jennings, the hold there, like that was a win probability swinger. Like San Fran would have been maybe like, probably plus 300 to win the game. Instead, they're like minus 50, minus 150. That's a big swing. There wasn't that many of those in this game. So it ended up like really actually saving the way you watched
You know what? It wasn't the fact that it's not even a talking point. Because like
the refs were bad, yeah, I know.
Because last year was the Bradbury hold, right?
Yeah.
Where Bradbury says after the game, I held them. Like he says he held. Who was it? Mark.
Juju.
It was Juju Smith-Schuster. He says he held them, but people still want to make it a thing. Like, oh, you shouldn't call that and that. But we luckily didn't get that this year. Like there wasn't one that was like super controversial. It wasn't lopsided towards one team. I honestly thought it was it was a non-factor officiating in the game.
Yeah,
which is huge.
Pretty solid for this year. We love to see that. We had the Gronkowski kick. Did he miss it? Like they just miss it on purpose because then people talk about it. If he made it, no one would be talking.
I almost don't. The thing is, like, does Gronk just not? He must not give a fuck.
No,
he doesn't give.
Confirm. Was it a 25-yarder?
I think it's 25.
Yeah, I think so.
25 yards.
I didn't watch the kick.
So easy to hit.
I know they wanted you to go to their YouTube to watch it or whatever rather than broadcasting it.
It was on the broadcast.
Was it on the broadcast?
Yeah, before the game started.
Oh, before the game. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
He just went out and missed it wide right, and he's like, no.
Like you have to not give any fucks about this kick.
But
to miss 2 years in a row.
But was he kicking it live again? I don't even get.
No, there was no way.
No, because they took the betting off the board at like 4 Eastern. So I think they recorded it at that time. Because that's when it was no longer available for betting. But I don't know. I didn't see. The last year's kick looked fake.
Why is he stepping in with one stride?
Like he's an athlete. Like he can kick this. He's an athlete. Like this is a joke.
He doesn't even need to step in for a 25-yard. You could just toe punt it right off the start without even moving.
I don't want to talk. He's very obviously does not give a shit. Therefore, I should not give a shit about this at all. It's just really frustrating that a pro athlete, I don't care like what profession, he was at the top of his level in the NFL, can't make a 25-yard field goal. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
No good.
Also embarrassing is the number of likes we currently have on the stream. If you haven't smashed that like button down below, make sure you smash that like button. Share this out on your socials as well. If it's your first time catching Circles Off, make sure you're subscribed here on Circles Off on top of it. The big talking point, though, today is Kyle Shanahan. Like, that's the talking point today. And whether or not, we could talk about the full game, but the main sticking point is, did Kyle Shanahan make a mistake taking the ball in overtime?
Yeah, what do you think?
So I'm gonna go through my full perspective here. In real time, my first reaction to the coin toss and San Fran taking the ball, my first gut instinct was, why are they taking the ball? That was my first instinct, okay? Now, I know the new overtime rules. I know you get the extra possession potentially. But to me, the likelihood of you getting to that extra possession is basically field goal. Because
Or nothing.
Or nothing. That's true.
Which is pretty likely.
It's possible. So it basically comes down to weighing what that extra possession is worth versus knowing what you need to do is worth, which I value a lot. Now, when they instituted these overtime rules, they did some stuff. They broke down the math and they tried to make it as close to 50-50 as possible. So I honestly don't think that you can say it was a bad call, because the math is kind of 50-50. But my gut feel was, if I was in that position, and this is agnostic of the outcome of the game, I would have kicked off. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, personally, I would have received. I think it's a good move. I'd love to see like someone a little bit smarter in terms of math actually break it down for us. But I don't even think it's that close, by the way. Like, I think it's a solid, like, probably 2.5%, 3.5%, 4.5% difference in win probability if you receive the ball first, because you do actually get extra possession. I understand, obviously, knowing what you need is super valuable.
Yeah.
But in the event that, so you get the ball first.
Yep.
You get an extra possession automatically, because you get the first possession. Yeah, you punt, there's going to be even anyways. Then if they win it, if it's no score, you're significant up. Yeah. And if it's field goal, you're significant up. And you mentioned like knowing what you need. If you kick a field goal on the opening drive, that is also just better, because the other team's going to most likely settle for a field goal. Obviously, Mahomes ended up getting a touchdown, but the most likely outcome on that second drive, by the way, for KC, was they tie it with a field goal. That was the most likely outcome of them like turning it over, getting a touchdown, getting a field goal.
Yeah.
Because once they're in field goal range, they no longer play risky. What happened was they ended up getting a couple of big plays, and then that big play to Kelsey brought him into the red zone. But I really thought they'd probably stop him in and around the 20, if anything. And then you have a field goal drive for the win.
So the only issue is, I think part of why this is impossible to model is you have to kind of know what the other coach is going to do. And here's what I'll give you.
You're saying, would he have gone for 2 if it was touchdown?
That's part of it. But also, like,
I told you about this like 3 weeks ago.
I remember.
You have to go for 2.
I agree. For sure you go for two in that situation. And I believe someone on the Chiefs said today that they had practiced, they had studied the overtime rules as a team, and had San Fran scored a touchdown and they would have gone for 2.
No brainer.
And that's, but also, like, think about it from this perspective, right? Say San Fran kicks that field goal.
Yeah.
They're up. They got the 3 points that they did. KC now goes down the field. They're in field goal range, and they have a 4th and 1. I would not kick the field goal.
They would kick it.
But this is your Andy Reid might. It depends on the coach too, right?
No, they should obviously go for that.
Agreed.
But at the same time, if you're looking at this, like, San Fran should have probably gone for it as well and made sure they got a touchdown. Like, there's so much value to getting. I honestly, I don't know. I'd love for someone to actually model it out.
Yeah.
But I compare this a lot to college football. Like, college football, very clearly you want to be going second in overtime.
Right.
Because then you know what you need. So if the other team gets a touchdown, then you don't kick a field goal on 4th. You go for it. And if the other team gets a field goal, you can either kick or you can go for it, whatever. You can go for 2 to win the game. You always have the options. But in college football, you always get a second possession on the next OT play. So if the rules were in college where it was just 1 and 1,
yep,
and then the next OT just starts with the team that went first, everybody would elect to receive. And that's because in college, like I guess you're starting already in field goal range. So it would make absolutely no sense to not receive first. And I'm looking at this in NFL saying like same deal. You do get extra possession. And the matter of fact is at 0-0, like meaning at no score, which is still a possible outcome, you're significantly plus EV.
For sure.
If you get a field goal opening drive, you're plus EV. If you get a touchdown, is the only scenario in which now it's irrelevant because the other team's going for a touchdown and then trying to win with a 2PC. But in all honesty, like I'm pretty sure it's big to receive. I'm happy with the receive.
I've seen a couple people post probabilities that were both very close to 50-50. So one was Brian Burke from ESPN, which honestly, this is not disrespect to Brian Burke. I mean, it's going to be viewed as one, whatever. But he's put out some numbers before on Twitter where I've just seen them and I'm like, this is wrong. So I don't know how much I can trust that. The other one was Kevin Cole, who used to be with PFF. I'm a big fan of his as well. I've done some of his podcasts over the years. He had I'm just not judging Kyle.
So what did he say? 50-50?
It was close to 50-50
Yeah,
as well.
I'm okay. I know it's probably close to 50-50. Like, this isn't a massive swing. At the most, it's probably like I said, 3-4%, 2 to 4% difference.
Yes.
So it's not like we're talking here. Like
I just wouldn't pin the like for the people who are going to blame Shanahan for taking the ball first. Like I would, even if I think it's not the right call, I think it's so close and it's so easily justifiable that like that's not why they lost the game.
Who was the captain who called the toss?
I don't know.
His mistake was he should have said, "We want the ball and we're going to score." That's what his mistake was. Yeah, but he didn't have the confidence.
But then KC would have got the ball and they scored and they had a 2-point attempt to win the game.
Yeah, I know, and they might not have got that 2-point attempt. Man, if Mahomes also like, man, fourth down in overtime, 4th and 1. Did you see that guy's face? He was absolutely stone cold laughing. He did not even have a worry in the world that he's about to take a snap, and if he doesn't get to this line, they lose the Super Bowl. He didn't care.
I'm thinking
he was for sure getting that.
I'm like, this is the first time in like 5 years they're going to run a sneak with Mahomes. And then they lined them up in shotgun. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are going to hand it off and run up the middle.
If they handed it off, they actually would have got stuffed.
Nick Bosa overplayed the run. Like Nick Bosa sold out on the run.
I don't mind that.
Neither do I, because like
4th and 1, you should convert if you're Casey. The thing I thought that was actually going to happen was I thought Mahomes either going to like QB sneak it up the middle or end around like he did, pretty much like the draw there. I knew they weren't going to run it because like imagine you lose the game and the ball's not even in Mahomes' hands and Pacheco's hands and he slips and falls.
You
like,
cannot do that. You cannot do that.
I actually thought that Mahomes was going to like do one of those plays where he steps back in shotgun, is blown coverage, and he hits like an open no-name receiver, like a Hardman, for like 33 yards. I'm like, don't let this happen.
I thought so too. When I saw that line up, I'm like, oh, shotgun, like. He's gonna hit someone here.
He's gonna hit like a Hardman for 33 yards.
Funny how we all had like these insane. Like for me, as soon as I saw him running with the ball, you can't really see the scope of things on screen. I thought this was like Michael Vick running like a 60-yard touchdown. Like it looked like there was no one there.
I see Jacob's comment on screen. Bosa went for a Super Bowl winning play. Can't hate it. I absolutely love that. Yeah, imagine ending the bowl. Like imagine he blew up the run, stuffed Pacheco in the backfield, slammed him, and then they just stormed the field. Like that's a way to win.
Yeah. I do have some nitpicking with Kyle Shanahan for the game, though. So
in the first half, it's got to be.
There's a few things. So, first of all, Kyle Juszczyk after the game. Like, talk about throwing your coach under the bus. But he's like, the team was not aware of the overtime rules. They had the 49. Kyle Juszczyk was like, we didn't know like what the overtime rules were.
Also, by the way,
how is that throwing the coach under the bus?
Because it should be the coach's responsibility. Like, first of
all, they changed those 2 years ago.
Listen, I agree that as a player, I probably would know. But, like, to hear the difference between the preparation of the two teams, right? Like, Andy Reid practiced this with his team this week. Like, these are the overtime situations. Could be a close game. The 49ers had no friggin' clue. Second of all, people always rag on Dan Campbell, right? Because he's, like, super aggressive or whatever. You know what the Lions do really well? Better than any team in the league. When they get into like these 3rd and mediums, they play it as if it's 4th down territory and they run the ball sometimes on 3rd and they pick up first downs because other team's not expecting it. They make it 4th and 1 or 4. Every time the Niners are in like a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. It's incomplete pass, and they're stuck, and they can't do.
Yeah, the game was lost when Brock Purdy threw incomplete on 3rd and 5 at the KC 35 before Moody hit the field goal. If they run that with McCaff up the middle, they take another 40 seconds off the clock, hopefully even get 3 yards, and then honestly go for it and try to end the game there.
I was waiting for them to run a screen pass at some point as well to overcome like these 3rd down blitzes. So that I didn't like. But for God's sakes, I cannot see another coach at the end of the first half mismanage a clock that badly. Like, the possessions are worth something. Like, it's a tangible amount of points. A possession is worth X amount of points. I don't know the number off the top of my head. But you're at the end of the first half, KC is just milking the clock as much as possible, and Shanahan's just letting it drain there. Like, we're going to go into the half with the lead. Who cares what happens here? It's like, dude, you can get the ball back with like over a minute left. We'll have an extra. They play.
What's the point of like getting the ball in the first half? That's the value in.
Exactly. He plays. This is my thing with Shanahan. He's very smart. He's a good scheme. He's a great coach, but like 3 Super Bowls now that he's been a part of, they've had a double-digit lead and they didn't win. And he gets so fucking conservative in some of these situations. It's like, get the ball back. What's the worst? Okay, the worst thing that's going to happen is you turn it over. The likelihood that you're going to score points on offense way outweighs the chances that you're going to give up points from the opposing defense. Like,
no, and also KC did the thing where you defer the opening kickoff, which is the value move, and then you try to bleed the clock near the end of the second half, so you get 2 possessions in a row, and that's how you get extra possession for the game. And they literally did that. And San Fran just didn't call timeouts. Not to mention also, by the way, I've said this multiple times. No matter what the game is, it could be a regular season opening game, it could be a week 18 when you're out of the playoffs. You never, under any circumstances in the game, there's no good reason to ever do this. Burn a 3rd quarter timeout. Burn a timeout in the 3rd quarter when you're losing. Never. You just never do that. If you're losing in the game going into the 3rd quarter, you need all 3 timeouts. Whatever probability, whatever thing you saw on the defense that, oh, wait, no, we need a better look, we need to drop a new play, that is not worth the win probability of burning that timeout in the 3rd quarter. It's when you're down. If you're up 17 points, you can burn it because the chances are you're not going to need to stop the clock 3 times at the end of the game. Both these teams, which are the supposed best 2 teams playing for the Super Bowl, took a 3rd quarter timeout when trailing.
Reed's was preposterous, by the way.
The KC one was preposterous.
Because they could have just challenged the play. They could have just challenged the spot on the Travis Kelce pass where I think he actually got the first down.
He did get it. I know, and then they almost burned themselves too.
And they called a timeout, and they still didn't challenge. I don't in that situation, if you're going to use the timeout anyways, just challenge the play.
Well, I guess if you lose it, then you lose your challenge.
Sure. But in the 3rd quarter, the likelihood that you're going to need a 3rd challenge.
I know. Well, that one also might have won. The challenge might have been overturned.
Exactly.
The spot might have been overturned on that one.
I think Reed does a good job, but there's certain things here and there that I almost blew a gasket watching that. I almost blew a gasket. There's going to be more NFL coverage from us here today on the Hammer Betting Network. Just keep it locked here. When we finish off Circles Off, your YouTube video will redirect directly to Forward Progress. It's going to be G-Stack George, Cleve TA, and Suba recapping the Super Bowl as well, giving thoughts on what they thought of the game. We have a poll up right now. Did you have a winning Super Bowl? 19% down bad, bro. 19% break even. 62% I'm up, baby. What do we think is the probability that 62% actually finished up?
On this channel, honestly, I think it's true.
It's good?
Yeah,
Think it's true?
because it's so easy to make money on the Super Bowl nowadays.
I figured
I'm not sure, now this crowd's going to come for me. Oh, this guy thinks he's print money. Buddy, you know how easy it is to make money betting sports? It's so easy. It's so easy. And on the Super Bowl, there's so many promos, there's so many bonuses, there's so much stuff going around. There's an infinite amount of lines. If you're just disciplined, you're betting $100 a bet, $50 a bet, $20 a bet, and you're disciplined, it's actually hard to go down on the Super Bowl with all the bonuses and stuff like that. If you're now dunking money on the coin toss, dunking money on the game, taking position, stuff like that, then yeah, obviously it's not as easy. But for the beginner bettor who's just starting off, you should easily win money on the Super Bowl.
Of the 19% that said that they broke even, Do we think that that's true? Or do we think that those are actually down bad bros that put themselves as broke even?
Broke even typically means you lost. Broke even.
I put that one in there for you guys because we've made that joke before.
break even typically means you lost.
Yeah, typically means a lot. We got about 15 minutes left.
OT.
Here.
We got to talk about the OT. Did you bet OT?
Okay, so I was going to talk about the same thing. So I did not bet whether or not the game would go to OT or not. I did see the tweet by Elihu.
I want to let this be clear. I did bet the game goes to OT. It was an extremely small bet. It was all it could get down. And the odds on it were plus 1,200.
Okay, so
it was a small bet for me. Like I'm like, this is literally it was a lunch money bet because that was all I could get down on it at that price, and I was very price sensitive with it. To be honest, I didn't even really model this one myself. I just looked at the rest of the market. I'm like, plus 1,200 for OT seems good. It's a little off market. If I wanted to, I can bet.
What was Pinnacle price?
Minus like 1,100.
Okay.
So it was you could have bet both. I didn't bet Pinnacle. I was not interested in laying minus 1,100 to not go to OT. Also, like it seems weird to say, but when you have a team like obviously it's a close spread. When you have like Mahomes in the game,
yeah,
I feel like it's actually more likely to go to OT because you have Mahomes and you have two kickers that could hit 50 plus yarders consistently or even 60. So you have a shot to go to OT, Vegas Air, whatever.
Well, so I would be very interested in getting like how Elihu broke. Elihu is way more skilled in math than I am. I'll just call it out for what it is. But when I ran my sims on this game, I did not have an edge either way, one way or another. But like it seems to me like you would have to make San Fran a bigger favorite to end up with this type of price on no overtime. Either that or KC. I don't know. I
fair minus 1,800. Obviously not fair. That's obviously not the correct mathematics there.
I don't know how that was arrived at. I honestly don't know. Now, whether like this turns into another conversation of whether or not you should bet big favorites in general. To each their own. You bet whatever the hell you want to bet. I was sweating no upright on a field goal again yesterday at minus 670. Okay, and minus 700. Which, by the way, I actually did take the terms from every book that I bet that at because I wanted to. Because some said specifically field goal.
Yeah, no missed pat.
And some said field goal or pat, but you know what happened in the game? Harrison Butker drilled a kickoff that hit the upright on a kickoff. So I am frantically going through my screenshots on my phone.
That can't be counted.
It was not. Thank God. I would have at that point. Here's another thing too. We've talked about this a million times. I didn't give out the no upright this year, like officially. I talked about it a little bit. We got to stop just tweeting out like go bet this minus 1,200. Go bet Purdue to win in the first round minus 8,000. Like you're getting nothing out of this. You're not like
the ultimate negative free roll.
People just stop. Even if it's a smart play, like think about if you win this play, there's no one coming to you that's like, thanks Elihu for letting me know to go bet this. Like no one's
Thanks Elihu. I didn't even bet this.
Yeah.
No one's even betting that, by the way. Like no one's betting minus 1,200 goes to OT. Like who's following someone else's picks.
But like the Purdue Fezzik one, like I'll never get over that one.
Yeah.
Like because like there's no one that's gonna you or only setting yourself up for someone to just trash you if you lose.
I'll tell you right now, minus 1,200 on no OT was a bad bet, and I'll explain to you why it was a bad bet. You could have got minus 1,100. That's all you need to know.
There you go.
If you could have got minus 1,100, minus 1,200 was a bad bet. End of story. It is what it is. OT was not kind to me. Lost my biggest prop bet, which was Marquez Valdez-Scantling under.
That would have been a high range of emotions for you.
So he caught it. I lost. He ran back 6 yards. I fist pump like no tomorrow. Then putting the bet back in range to win, only to have him catch the next catch for 6 yards and go over again by 1. It was a very tough loss.
Yeah. I lost some overtime stuff as well.
OT's not kind for
under bettors. It's not,
and because you don't even really get like a lot of times with overtime, you'll have like one touchdown scored. So if you had like a touchdown score or whatever, you're not even really that hopeful for OT. Like, oh, you can still get the touchdown OT. But if you have like an under on a random player, just extending the game another 10 minutes is brutal. Saw here our friend China comment as well. OT wasn't kind.
Yeah, I think he
China. I know
unders.
He sent you something you want to bring up on air here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, man.
We are gonna put it up in the studio. So
wait, let's just put it up. Don't even bring it up now. Then let's put it up.
We'll just put it up in the studio for next week. Appreciate you, China, for the gift that you sent. We will get it up there as well.
We got plus EV, minus EV. I prepped some. I didn't write them on the sheet for you, but I have a plus EV and a minus EV for Super Bowl specific.
All right, let's go for it.
All right. Minus EV Super Bowl annual move. All right. And this is a very, very bad one. We stuff our face with the worst food of all time. And just because it's Super Bowl, you go up for like at least 4 to 5 plates. We actually gotta be eating healthier on the Super Bowl. It's just a detriment. Now that I've been eating a lot healthier, when I do have like bad food, now it's just a killer. Like
Did you break yesterday? Like, did you?
Well, it was a planned day. I'm like, Super Bowl planned day. We're gonna get some sandwiches. We're gonna get some wings. Like, I'm gonna be eating this food.
Yeah.
The wings, man, just crazy. You eat too many. We also can't stop eating wings. It's not good.
Whoever took the elevator after you was in for.
It was not a good food. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy to be eating that much food. And by the way, then I was texting Rob after, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm toast. I got hammered and I was eating so much food." Like, we do this to ourselves.
Like what really gets me. So I had a Super Bowl party with like 20 people yesterday, a poker tournament as well. But like, you portion, like, there's good food there. Like we had some ribs and wings and some pizza and whatever. But then there's always like 10 bags of chips and like Swedish berries and
some nachos.
And like you just can't stop eating that stuff if it's just lying. If it's in front of your face, it's like, I just don't have the will to not. I don't feel like shit today because of the food. It was the booze that probably did it. But the combo.
It's drinking included. It's just a combo. It's just a very unhealthy day for no reason. It's just a football. It's just a football game. Yeah. Positive EV move. So this one right now might be a little bit of a hot take. It's the first year I've ever actually done this. So I have a small group of buddies that I watch like every single Sunday with for football, and we watch, sweat the bets, have fun, chat about the games. All have the same inside jokes as we have all year. And this year's Super Bowl actually didn't go to like a massive Super Bowl party. Just watched it with the same group of buddies that I watch every single Sunday with. And it was only us. It was the same group. We watched every single Sunday. It was about 6 of us. And I cannot advocate more for this. It is so much more fun to watch the Super Bowl with the friends that you have watched the rest of the game, all the rest of the games with, and end it on that. Versus like going to a Super Bowl party with basically 90% people who don't bet, never watch the game, bunch of people who are just there fucking around, asking stupid questions, complaining, selling for stuff. They don't know the betting etiquette. Like a guy loses a bet and you have the winner on that, and it was if it's a bigger bet for him than it is for you, you don't sell in his face.
No.
You don't sell in his face. How many Super Bowl videos you see where like guys are going nuts for KC and then a guy lost money on San Fran, they're selling in his face. They don't know the betting etiquette. Keep it small. Positive EV Super Bowl play of the year. Again, you still want to like go out, have fun with other friends, stuff like that. But the Super Bowl, my first year I ever did it, keeping it intimate. I think that's a winning strategy for me moving forward.
So I watched with 3 Niners fans yesterday of our group, and like I don't even make it known that I'm cheering. Like they're like, "What are you cheering?" I'm like, I got a little bit on the Chiefs, but like what? Like I don't want to be the guy that like every time the Chiefs are scoring a touchdown, like I'm fist bumping in their face. Like I'm not for that either. I'm with you on that. This is not related to the Super Bowl, but it's happened a few times this week because I've been carpooling a little bit more. Don't drink and drive, very important. Do stuff like that. Don't do stuff like that. But minus EV is just in general is road rage. Okay, and like I don't know why people get so upset when they're driving at other people, like to the point where they just like they won't even let the person get into their lane, like and think it's like we're all just going to where we're going. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. whether this guy blew up the right-hand side and tried to get into the like, what does it make a difference if you're one car length behind this person? It's not going to affect you in life whatsoever. There's people that are blaring the horn. My brother's like rolling down the window, dropping F-bombs, like, fuck you, this and that. I'm like, just drive. Like, we're all just gonna get there, whatever. Like, don't let this affect you in any way. That's my minus EV of the week.
Yeah, I like that one. No upside. It's a
What
negative
was the
free
point?
roll.
But
Guy comes out and kicks the shit out of you, even 1 in every 1,000, you're underwater.
But it just makes the driver's just miserable. Like, you're like, I'm driving around, one of my buddies, like, I'm in the back seat of his car, he's driving everywhere, he's upset the whole time. I'm like, why are you so upset? I'm like, well, because this guy passed you? Because you were driving 115 and he just flew by? Who gives a shit? Just move on with life. I don't understand. I'll never understand the road rage component. Yes, there are a lot of shitty drivers out there that do stupid things. It's okay to occasionally honk the horn, get pissed off. You're driving and you're pissed off every second of the day. There's no need to do that. Appreciate you, Tom, for the $5 donation as well. Hope you had a great Super Bowl. I'm sure you're one of the ones that was up and nodded down bad, bro. Thank you very much for the donation.
What do you say here? I picked early KC. Yeah,
read
congrats, Tom. You got him. Any comments before we close off here? I know we're sending the...
Few things we have to do.
Go ahead.
I do have to give props to the people who won our Forward Progress Props Extravaganza. We had our first ever losing stream this year.
I did not. I gave out an absolute putrid bet.
We went 14 and 17. Whoever tailed every play for $100 lost $470. $10 better lost $47.
Okay, that's not terrible.
You know what? I'm just reviewing. First of all, deep dive guys, you guys can get fucked. Andy and Drew, 0-2 right there. Thanks for coming out. Winners were Captain Jack, GRP with the over 9.5 third quarter.
GRP wins.
He wins.
That's what you get for giving out a plus 280.
Ian,
it happens.
It happens. Ian McMillan, Matt Davidow, Adam Chernoff wins by the hook. Brock Purdy under 12.5 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Plus 104 wins by the hook. Connor Allen, Dan Lifschatz, Suma, Matt Friedman, Cleve TA, Adam Levitan, his first appearance on Forward Progress, Barry Horse, myself, and producer Jason as well, who gave out KC money line. He wins that. 14 and 17. Biggest loser, Jeff Benson, minus 205 under 49ers, 2.5 sacks. Benson's getting a taste of the tout game right there. Getting a taste.
Everyone in the Circles Off chat, you got to tweet at Benson.
You got to let Benson know. We expect more from him next year. Kostos lost again. I'm just going to bring that guy. He's got like the reverse Undertaker WrestleMania streak. He just loses every year instead of wins every year. So we're going to keep bringing him back.
My bet that I gave out on the stream actually couldn't have lost more. Like, I don't even know how you lose more. There was not a single kickoff returned.
Yeah, no kickoff touchback.
There was
for opening kickoff.
There was not a single kickoff return. You couldn't have lost more. To be fair, I did say if Harrison Butker kicks off, you ripped his ticket up.
Yes.
But Moody also did not kick. Everyone went through the back of the end zone. They were just running, gunning him.
That was
couldn't have lost more.
Milf Hunter in the chat. Benson set us up with a trap play. So good. Couple other things. We were running some giveaways. Over in our community section, you can always check it out, thehammer.bet/the nails. And those are now done. So the moment of truth is here. We're giving away 2 packages. First, our Pinnacle package is going to username Runny88 Savannah Turner. Runny88 Savannah Turner. We'll reach out directly to you to get your sizing. You're winning yourself a Pinnacle swag bag. We also got a betstamp swag bag as well. That's going to McPeak Tom. Username McPeak Tom, name Thomas McPeak. You're winning yourself a betstamp swag bag as well. Again, we'll reach out to both of our winners. We'll run some more contests in the future. thehammer.bet/the nails. Appreciate everyone who tuned in here. Again, thank you to our sponsor Pinnacle for a great football season. Everyone in Canada, make sure that you check out Pinnacle Sportsbook and use code HAMMER if you do when signing up in Canada. Stay locked here. This video will redirect you right to Forward Progress, and we're back to our usual schedule, next week. So our next episode live here on Circles Off will be Thursday, February 22nd, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in there for myself, Rob, for Johnny, for a producer, Zach, who keeps things running and tried to get that humming out of my headset, which he got done, by the way, Zach, on the fly today.
On the fly.
Quality producer. This has been Circles Off, episode number 141, right here, part of the Hammer Betting Network, presented by Pinnacle. Everyone, enjoy your week and catch these guys on Forward Progress coming up now.
Take care, guys. Rob, this guy just said, I love you, Rob.